My accident was last February of 2009, and I was out at a show checking out my friend's band, and I was getting a ride and somehow ended up in my friend's car, and it was really late at night, and so I ended up falling asleep while I was driving, and the car accelerated while I was sleeping, and it veered off the side of the road, and I was ejected through the windshield. And about 90 feet. So luckily a passing car came by and they saw me and called the paramedics, and they sent the airlift helicopter to come get me. And so they flew me to shock trauma. Probably 12 hours, the first 12 hours that I was there, and then I was asleep for probably about 2 days, or out of it for about 2 days. So the next day I woke up and I didn't wake up actually. The next day they did more surgery on me, and so it was probably like 19 or 20 hours of surgery just in the first 48 hours. And the last thing that I remembered was being at the show, and it was like, for me it was pretty much like that. And the first thing I thought was that I had been abducted, and I thought they were taking my organs for the black market or something. I had a lot of damage to my stomach, my abdomen area, so they had to take they said my gallbladder pretty much fell out, which is kind of, I don't know why that's funny for me to think about, but I'm glad it was my gallbladder and not like, something other than that. Right leg was the worst hit, because my tibia basically, they were fractured and was basically shattered. It went out through my shin, and so they had to reconstruct that and do like a muscle transplant and a skin graft, and they've done nerve surgeries and knee manipulations and all kinds of really fun stuff, but life-saving surgery. So anyway, nothing could stop me from doing what I wanted to do. I just do whatever I wanted to do, and that's how I lived. And all of a sudden you can't even feed yourself or go to the bathroom or walk or do anything. All my instruments were sitting over in the corner, and I couldn't even go over and play them. They sent me to Kernan, where I started doing physical therapy, and they would get me up on the walker, which was, it's funny thinking about it now, because it was torture standing up on that thing just for like 2 minutes. But it's like you got to motivate yourself just to think. I thought in my head that I'd be walking again and running again one day, and actually I thought it would happen a lot faster than it did. But yeah, so it was just one little tiny small step at a time, and very slow. But finally I got well enough to get out of Kernan, and then they sent me home. It was about an hour drive back to my parents' house, and I remember I cried the whole way back, and I didn't really know why, because I think there's a lot of layers to that, but I think going home was so hard to do, and when you're in the hospital, there's a lot of things happening, and they're planning surgeries, and this is what's going to happen, and you feel like there's a whole plethora of people around you that are trying to make you better, and then all of a sudden it's like that, and you're discharged and you're going home, and it's just a strange feeling, and it was just so hard coming home and you know, I had a great support system. Like my family was awesome, my physical therapist was awesome, doctors, they all were great, and that's good, and that, you know, that's enough to like make you survive. But you know, I remember thinking that I wish, you know, I had somebody who could kind of like guide me along here, like at least help me mentally figure out, you know, where I am now and what's happening and why I'm feeling this way and why I get angry sometimes, or why I'm really sad sometimes, or lonely, or how to deal with how your friends see you now. And you know, there's just a whole new dynamic in every aspect of your life. And when I was approached about the Trauma Survivors Network, it seemed like, you know, a very obvious thing for me, and you know, I jumped on it right away.